Welcome to Season 2, Episode 25 of the Bulls REKAP Podcast. I'm Joe Cowley of the Chicago Sun-Times. You can obviously read me in the Sun-Times sports section, all things Bulls, do some other things every so often, but right now, Bulls. Follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at JCowleyHoops. I'm overlooking a golf course right now in beautiful Los Angeles. Not to brag, because before this, I had to get through Sacramento and some other places. It's been a long trip. I think this is day 78 of the trip by my best calculations. Best moment of the trip happened against the Lakers last night. Matas Buzelis talked about it after, so let's go to that first.
I don't even know what to say, honestly. He started killing, obviously, when I started talking to him. But I just, as you said, I don't back down from anybody, no matter who you are, And I took on the challenge and didn't execute.
What do you hope to take away from the experience?
Probably not to talk to him.
Okay. That's one way to look at it. Here's how I look at it. So who he was talking about was obviously Luka Doncic. Anyone that watched the game or checked out social media afterward, it was all over social media. Those two were going at it verbally. After the game, we got a he said of who said what. Luka's version was, young pup, start talking to me first. And he was saying stuff, knowing that if I get one more technical, I get a suspension. He was saying stuff to me that you shouldn't be saying. And if I would have said that stuff to him and the refs would have heard it, they would have teed me up and thrown me out. So he took offense. He said he thought Matas had an agenda, and plus the stuff he was saying to him was foul. It was vile. Matas' version is no. I'm not. Matas did admit he said some sewage stuff to him. What it is, we don't know. He won't say. I think I got an idea, but we'll let the young lad explain himself someday if he wants to do that. His thing is Luka started talking to me first, and I'm not going to back down. And I was taught that from an early age. It doesn't matter the player, the quality of the player is you don't back down. It was nice to see. It was a throwback kind of. It's funny because after the game, Sam Smith asked Matas, and Sam dated himself. Obviously, anyone that knows Sam Smith, famous author of Jordan Rules, longtime Tribune writer. Now you could read him at bulls.com. But he asked him, hey, back in the day, guys didn't talk that way to each other. And so afterwards, we're like, Sam, what are you talking about? You wrote a book on Jordan, the biggest trash talker. Larry Legend was a notorious trash talker. Gary Payton was as good as it got with trash talking. I mean, that was the league. He goes, no, I meant like Wilt and Dr. J. And I'm like, oh, Sam, you went way back. But this reminded me of the basketball I grew up with. And you do not let someone, whether it's home or away, whether he's a perennial all-star or an MVP candidate, get away with talking smack. Now, I will say the backstory, which could be what Matas got into, is Luka, a couple nights earlier, it might have been the night before, there was a viral moment where he hit a shot. Spike Lee was courtside. He was sitting next to a famous, I'll say semi-famous, adult film star. Sky Bree, I believe his name is. I wouldn't know. And Luka gave like a point wink, and Spike thought it was to him. There's people that are saying it wasn't to him. Anybody that knows, Luka right now is going through some things, settlements for kids, things like that. There's a lot of stuff going on in Luka's life, and it is Hollywood. So was that brought up? Because that went viral, and Matas is a student of the game. And if he's going to trash talk someone, he might do some research on what he wants to discuss. Not saying that was brought up, not saying it's not. But so either way, he said. Matas has 22 for the game, and Didn't do much in the second half, and Luka killed him. He didn't get matched up on Luka all the time. He was on LeBron. I mean, he was on everybody. But this is a great learning moment from Matas, and something, again, this has been the best part of this entire trip is watching Matas and the growth, because this is the hype that I came into the season spouting about that we hadn't seen. If anything, I would say the first couple months from Matas were pretty disappointing. This is not. This is what we paid for. This is the price of admission that we wanted to see from this kid. Did it take moving vets like Vooch and Kobe and Io so he doesn't feel like the pecking order, where he is in the pecking order, for him to do this? I don't know. What I'm going to go back to and say is the other moment to come out of this road trip, for all the Billy Donovan haters, Matas had an interesting interview. We've been talking to Matas a lot on this trip because he's been really damn good. But one of the things he talked about was Billy, how important Billy's been to him, and because of how hard he coaches him and what that means to him. And he said, I'll ride with Billy forever, meaning I want Billy to be my coach for as long as he wants to be my coach. So I thought that was significant. And I'm going to bring this back to, I think February 24th is when they played Charlotte, February 24th. So about 7 games ago. The night before, and I think I've talked about this before, it was just a do-nothing day. They had a practice earlier in the day. Matas came back that night to get shots up by himself. Billy, obviously, who burns the candles, was in his office that night going through film for the Hornets game, and sees Matas, and he goes and decides to have a heart-to-heart with him. And what they talked about, what Billy talked about, and what Matas acknowledged is it's time. It's time to be aggressive. It's time to understand decisiveness. Get ball, shoot it. Stop thinking about it. Stop thinking, because I have pretty good handle for a 6'9", 6'10" guy. Do I want to break this down guy? Do I want to do it? Do I want to shake him? Do I want to wiggle him? What do I want to do with the ball? Stop thinking about it. Either go, understand the closeout and attack it, shoot it, or get off the ball. And that's what they talked about. Since then, okay, so that's 7 games. Matas' numbers since then: 23.7 points per game. That includes a 41 the other night against Golden State, career high. And he also had 32, I want to say, against the Hornets. But every game has been at least 20-plus except one. I think he had an 11-point game. I might have been against OKC. Okay. We'll give him grace on that. It's OKC. 6.6 rebounds. Love that. You're attacking the glass. You're being more aggressive. 1.6 blocks. So his block game he hasn't lost his block game because he's increased his offense. Love that, because now your mentality is, I can be a two-way player. I don't have to be just this one-dimensional guy who focuses on scoring. 48.3% from the field, like that. 38.5% from three. That, you'd like him at 40, but we're not gonna get picky. Here's what I really like: amount of 3-point attempts per game, 9.3 over that time. So he's shooting it. So 38.5%, but he's putting them up. And then here's the other number I like a lot: 4.9 free throw attempts per game. So that means you are understanding, guys coming at me, I'm just going hard at the rim. The mid-range game was part of the discussion too, and people think that Billy has taken away his mid-range game. That's not it. He's just, don't force your mid-range game. Stop doing that Dirk off one leg that used to get away with at that crappy G League Ignite experience that you had. So that was the discussion. So now let's fast forward to last night. Something you can't discuss. You could talk to Matas about shot profile. You could talk to Matas about however you want to coach him, being a two-way player, all these things. What you can't talk to him about, and just you got to let him go through it, is when you try and slay the dragon and that dragon's got fire and you got no answer for it. And to Matas' credit, he did shut up a little bit in the second half. I think Luka calmed down a little bit. They had some moments. But I would have liked to seen him continue it because he even brought it up. He said, the problem is if you're going to start talking shit with somebody, you can't stop just because things aren't going your way. And he talked about that afterward. I think he was a little disappointed that he let Luka kind of shut him up. 51 points, he's going to shut some asses up. But still, I think he felt like, hey, whether I started it or he started it and I came right back at him, I should have never ceased fire. I should have kept going. Because then you're showing weakness then. Well, this guy's getting the best of me, so now I'm going to shut up. So that's why that soundbite was funny when he said don't start talking to him in the first place. But then later on, he did open up and go, hey, I have to understand that once I fire that shot, I can't stop. And so he was a little disappointed himself. But these kind of moments for him are huge. Huge. I mean, he is telling me in the last couple weeks and on this road trip, not only am I a foundation piece, because there's no doubt that he and Josh Giddey are the only true foundation pieces. Trey Jones is a great piece, but I'm talking about foundation starting pieces that you could say, this is what we are building around. And hopefully we can get a star that even elevates them. But Josh Giddey, Matas, and they've both shown it on this trip, but Matas especially, for a 21-year-old to now be saying to that rookie class from 2 years ago, you know what? You can argue Castle because he's just the team he's on and what he does on both ends, but you're going Castle and Matas, boom, boom. The rest of that class, kind of dookie on it. It's just kind of a dookie class after. Rishashar, nobody knows what he's going to be. Sarr has shown some moments for the Wizards, but it's Castle and it's Matas of that class. If you could reshuffle that draft, those two would be 1 and 2, period. So Bulls fans, that's been great. That's been in a season of poop. That has been something to hold on to. Is okay. We got a dude, and what I like about him is now you're getting a dude he's getting some calluses on him. He's getting some fire on him, and those are all growth things. Those are all things you grow with. So, to me, on this trip of day 78, I believe, this has been mammoth as far as his future, what he's learning on this trip. And I'm kind of, 16 games left. And when I'm taping this, he's, Kawhi's not going to talk to him tonight. They got the Clippers to end this trip. But Kawhi's actions do his talking. And Matas is going to get matched up with him. And he's not every time. That's probably not going to be the main assignment for him, but it very well could be. And he has to learn how to deal with that dragon. Different type, but he has to learn how to do with that dragon. But the Luka Matas stuff yesterday, I don't care who started it. And at the end of the day, Luka finished it. They won. He had 51. He was 1 assist shy of a 51-point triple-double. Matas got his 22 or whatever he ended up with, and kind of got the first of all, his minutes have been huge on this road trip. So I think his legs kind of got tired. But I think Luka kind of taught him a little bit of lesson of, hey, young pup, you want to nip at the heels, here's a little kick to you. So, but to me, it not even a doubt that is the highlight of this road trip for the Bulls. Not the only one. The other one thing I want to get into, we've talked a lot about Rob Dillingham. I'm not ready to give up on Rob Dillingham. We found out in San Francisco before the Golden State game, he's playing with, and you can actually see it. There's pictures when he shoots. You see these things pop out of his wrist. He's got 2 cysts in there, at least one, and it's not a injury concern, but it does mess with the flexibility of his shot. So there's sometimes his shot looks pure, and other times you're like, dude, how did you short that? No one was around you. So I'm going to give him grace because it is something they have to look at in the offseason. Is it a bad look that your front office made all these trades and the only one that really didn't come damaged is that's significant is Colin Sexton. Everyone else kind of came damaged. Jaden Ivey's still back in Chicago. They're going to have an answer on him and his rest of his season probably within the next week. They're trying to do the knee strengthening thing and get him out there to get a look to see if there's any kind of explosion. This one has turned tough. We talked to Billy about it the other day, and this one has turned tough because he is a restricted free agent, so you have to make a decision on him. And before this leg injury last year, go watch the tape on him. Go watch the tape on him at his senior year at Purdue and how explosive he was. And he took that to Detroit with him. Obviously, better athletes around him, so it made it a little bit tougher, opposing athletes. But this dude, we did not see that guy when he came. We were sitting on press row going, that's not the Jaden Ivey that I saw even last year before the injury. And you don't want to be the team that says, yeah, your injury scares us, or your preachy stuff after the game. We don't, I just call him the Rev because he preaches after the game. I don't care about that. If I'm a GM, I preach after all you want. Play for 48 minutes. Do that. So that one's tough. Anthony Simons came over with some injuries, and he hasn't shaken those injuries. Now, to me, the wrist thing is kind of a freak thing. But if I'm Anthony Simons, I'm a free agent. I mean, what do I have to prove right now? That one's, I don't know. I mean, I'm not questioning his injury, but do you need to rush back with a wrist injury? I don't know. So, yeah, it's just been kind of concerning that the front office brought back all these guys. But getting back to Dillingham, he continues to show some things. And I'm not saying he's going to be a starter. I'm not saying he's going to be worthy of the number 8 overall pick. And you do have control over him. Huge. I talked to him. I did a story on him. I don't know, maybe day 15 of this trip. I don't remember. Where I talked to him just about how important the summer is. This summer for him it's huge. He does want to stay in Chicago a lot. He does seem to understand that it's not his last chance, but it's his best chance. It's not your last chance, but right now is your best chance. You're going into year 3. Anybody that knows the league, going into year 3 is huge because that's when teams have to start making decisions on you. Once you start becoming a bounce-around guy in this league where you are a high pick, but people are always going to think I can fix you, but you're still always just be a guy off the bench. Once you become that and you're a bounce-around guy, you're never going to meet your dreams or your expectations. You're just a bounce-around guy. Then your expectations are, I hope I stay in a rotation on a playoff-type team and I could contribute when called upon, whether it's 5 minutes, DNP, and I just work my ass off in practice, or I come in for 20-some minutes and do something significant. I mean, that's really what you're stuck at. You don't want to be that guy, and Dillingham does not want to be that guy. The thing he said to me, he says, Joe, I know I can be great. I know I can do all this stuff that other guards are doing, but I have to put the work in. And so there was some self-reflection. He knows he's got to get bigger. He's not frail, but he's just a small person. He's not. I mean, you look at him and Trey Jones, height-wise, they're the same, but then you look at their build. Trey Jones isn't like Sherman Douglas thick or Marcus Smart thick, but he's got some man on him. So Dillingham has to get to that point. So I thought that was the other thing. And again, on this trip, when he did get minutes, there was some, Rob, what the hell are you doing? And then, like even yesterday, that first half against the Lakers, some of the passes he made when they kind of burst out for a little lead for a while in the second quarter, his court vision, his alley-oop game, his ability to he looked at, there was like 2 Lakers. Leonard Miller was like off to the side. He was dribbling and I was like, he's not even looking at the rim. He was just staring at Leonard Miller like, it's time, young man. And he threw a beautiful alley-oop over 2 Lakers. And I don't even think they saw him back cutting. I mean, so his court vision is there. There are some things that are there that you can't just say, Rob Dillingham sucks, like I keep seeing on social media. Rob Dillingham's a bust. Now, he's got some stuff that a lot of human beings don't have. So I'm not ready to give up on that. I'm not ready to say, Dookie on Rob Dillingham. I think there's still something there, and now it's going to be on him. Does he put the work in this summer and get his conditioning up to what it's going to be to be a Bull and to run with these guys, but get his body. And, he might not have a body that you can put like big muscle on, but you can put some lean muscle on. You could, Trey Jones is great as far as just kind of bumping into guys and then going off an angle and to score at the rim. And his angle game is ridiculous finishing. So, Dillingham can learn some things from Trey Jones. So that's been the other thing to come out of this trip is there's been flashes. And I thought he flashed in the first half against the Lakers. And then he had some really bad moments in the second half. And that's when he's going to have a short leash. So those are the two things. But the Matas thing, that's great. That's one of those things you look back in a couple of years when Matas is just wearing out some young dude. He's 24, 25, 26 years old, and he's on, his 44th point in the game, and some young guy is coming trying to trash talk him, and he's going to remember that moment. And so I loved it. The crowd was into it. Social media was buzz. To me, it was the highlight of the trip, so that was great. So, all right, let me get into a rant now. We're going to go to Cowley Island. Again, yesterday, where are we? March 12th, pregame. I asked Billy Donovan flat out, have you been told yet I asked him two parts to this. Have you been told by the front office yet? And this was, we knew Milwaukee had lost, so they were tied with the Bulls going into the Lakers game. So basically, if Bulls win, they jump Milwaukee. They move out of the 9 spot. They move to 10. Okay, who cares, you say, because it's only 1.5% for the number 1 pick. Fine. It's 7% for the top 4 pick. And you want to be in the top 4. We've talked about this over and over on the spot. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to go through the mock draft. You want to be in the top 4 if you're the Bulls. And you want to have if they were able to suck so bad that they could jump Memphis and get to 8, then you're talking another 7%. It's a 14% difference from 8 to 10. That's significant for the top 4. It's only 3% for number 1 overall, and that's fine. I don't need them to get number 1 overall. Hell, the way Peterson is messing with everyone's minds, maybe number 1's not great. Maybe number 2's better, where you say to that first team, okay, you take him. You take the guy that's load management in college, who is by far the most talented, but you take him. And then we'll decide between Boozer and A.J. DeBonsa, or Caleb Wilson is hurt now. So the way A.J. DeBonsa is playing, if I fall to number 2 and they're like, okay, who do you want, Peterson or A.J.? Okay, I'll take the consolation prize, either one, but it's going to be on you to make that decision. So number 2's not in a bad spot. And number 3, the way it's breaking down right now, if you get Boozer, okay, I've got a 15-year professional who's 2010 as a 4, who wins, who doesn't make a lot of mistakes, who plays high IQ, and who moves Matas over to 3. Oh, terrible if I fall to 3. So the Bulls want to play these reindeer games because I asked Billy flat out, has AK said to you yet, pump the brakes, play these guys in the fourth quarter? Medical is going to sit this guy. We got some concerns about this. He's got a little boo-boo. No, none of it. Billy said he has not been told that. Best foot forward still. Put your best foot forward. And he said, now, could that change if they are eliminated from everything? Because they still are chasing this play-in game. For what? Why? Stop chasing this play-in shit year after year. Stop. It's dumb. But they're chasing it. If they are eliminated from that chase, he said, would medical then say, hey, it's not worth putting this guy out? Possibly, but he has not been told that. That is not a definite. So then I asked him if the front office has said, hey, for evaluation purposes, let's play Rob 30-some minutes so we get a really good look at him. Let's play Sexton, 3 quarters and then sit him because we know what he's about. Obviously, he's been hurt. But before he was hurt, any of that. Has there been any, hey, let's see what Leonard Miller is about? And I think we've gotten a good idea what he's about. None of that. They haven't said anything. So maybe they're scouting their asses off with the conference tournaments right now. I don't know. AK, where are you? I don't know. So, all right, let's go to the list. I did a list initially when they made all these trades of the guys I don't even know how I phrase it, whether it was evaluation or guys possibly worth keeping. Well, I've evaluated. They've evaluated. I've evaluated. So I'm going to go 3, 2, 1 of the 3 guys that would interest me in taking a longer look through next year after the new guys that they acquired in the trades. Number 3 was a guy I did not want to keep, but he's kind of selling me. But he comes with a caveat. Colin Sexton. Sometimes you just need a dick to come off the bench. And he's that dude. Whether he's flipping himself off or missing free throws or flipping off the rim, whatever he did, or punching himself in the head. And, I mean, this is not an act. He's been doing this. Guys that have played with him in high school said he was doing this in high school. He's an intense dude. Maybe they need that. He'd be like their Patrick Beverly, but more skilled than Patrick. Not the defender Patrick is, but more skilled offensively. But, again, here's the caveat. In the draft, if they don't get 1, 2, 3, or 4, then they probably are stuck in guard hell. When you look at how the draft breaks down, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 are probably all going to be guards. If you're going to bring in another guard, then you let Colin Sexton walk because you're already going to have Josh, you're going to have Trey, you're going to have the new guy. You still got to see what you're going to do with Rob. And if you keep Jaden Ivey, you got another guard. So that's the only way I let him walk. If you get lucky and you get 1, 2, or 3, I might bring Sexton back to be a scorer off the bench and lead that second unit. He's changed my mind on that. Number 2, guy I talked a lot about already, Rob Dillingham. Don't need to go back in it. Call him Danger Rob because sometimes he does some stuff you're like, that's dangerous. And then other times you're like, that jump pass was dangerous. I mean, so Danger Rob is number 2. And number 1, this freaking dude has come from nowhere. I wrote a story in the Sun-Times that I think ran today, Friday, the 13th. Oh, it's the 13th. That's scary. Lenny Miller right now is better than Patrick Williams. And they're almost the same position. They're supposed to do the same things. He's not the three-point shooter Patrick Williams is. He does everything else. And his aggressiveness and urgency and his action and his movement, and he's $2.8 million team option next year compared to $18 million for Patrick Williams for the next 4 years with an option that you gave him, AK. Lenny Miller might be your answer as a forward. He's not a starter. As a forward off the bench that comes in, high motor, tries to make winning plays, needs to work on his three-point shot. His corner three is not bad, but overall. And I just love the way he moves. He's just always moving, high motor, up and down the court. Defense is not bad. Lenny Miller, next year. What are we doing here? So I will have a guest next week. I promise that. Until then, though, I got next.